We are reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, Universal Form, the Law. Last two verses, 54 and 50. Prabhupada has given nice purport. So, where we are standing, Krishna has showed his universal form, and he's saying this form, 200 form, is my original form, Shambhu. Original calling Shambhu. And other two form, universal form and Chaturvus, 400 form. This 200 form is more prominent than previous two. Who can know? Only devotee can understand. Without devotion, nobody can see. So, what is the importance of bhakti? We last two verses will get it. 54. Bhakta tu ananya shakka aham evam vidho arjuna gyatum drishtum chatatyana pravishtum cha parantam. Bhakta by devotional service. Two, but ananyaya, without being mixed with fruitive activities or speculative knowledge. Anna means other. Ananyaya means other, no other mixture. What is pure milk? Pure milk means only milk, no water, no honey, no sugar. That is pure milk. Shuddha bhakti means ananya bhakti, kevala bhakti. That means in bhakti, there is no mixture of fruitive activities and speculative knowledge. What are these? Fruitive activities means karmi, speculative knowledge means gyani, and bhakta. Three, bhakta, gyani, karmi. For bhakta, no mixed of karmis and gyanis. That is ananyaya, shakka, samarth, possible, shakka, shaktishal. Aham I, evam vidha, like this. Arjuna, Gyatum, to know. Drishtum, to see. Cha, and tatyana, in fact, means completely. So, Gyatum, Drishtum, cha tatyana. One will understand Krishna, know, and able to see the completely. And after seeing, what will pravishtum, to enter into cha also. Parantapo, the subduer of any. Param tap. Param, tap, the param tap. M become N. Param tap. Param means supreme. Tap means heat. Means pain. Who can give maximum pain to the enemies? Param tap. That means subduer of the enemy. Param tap. Arjuna's name is Param tap. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am standing before you. Krishna is standing before him, still people cannot understand. Only by undivided devotional service, unmixed devotional service, ananya bhakti, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So that means without devotion, whatever devotion? Undivided devotional service. One cannot understand Krishna. Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. He explicitly explains this in this verse, so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by the speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. Gainis, they try to understand Krishna, but here Krishna personally telling only undivided devotional service. Gain is mixed with Jnana and Karma cannot. No one can understand Krishna or how he came from parents in 400 form and at once changed himself into a 200 form. No one can understand. No one can understand how Krishna took birth in the 400 form. Not only 400 form, with helmet, with cloth, with garland. He took birth in such a who can understand? Ah, it is not possible. Rascal will say like that. These things are very difficult to understand by study of the Vedas or philosophical speculation. Make me understand how it is possible. When a child takes birth, how flower garland he can be. So answer is that without devotion you will not understand. These things are very difficult to understand by study of Vedas or philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into the understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literature can learn about him from the Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Krishna, he must follow the regular principles described in the authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penances, one may observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day on which Krishna appeared, and on the 2 days of Ekadashi, Shukla Boksha and Krishna Boksha. Ekadash means 11th. Ekadashi, the 11th day after the new moon and the 11th day after the full moon. 11th day after the new moon is called Shukla Boksha, and 11th day after the full moon is called Krishna Boksha. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most magnificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. Nama Mahavadannaya. Danna, Dan, Danna, Badanna, Mahavadanna. Most magnificent means Mahavadanna. Why? He has given because charity, what is charity? Love of Krishna. And not only that, freely distributed, that is Mahavadana. So if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worships as prescribed in the temple in India, there is always some statue, usually of Vishnu or Krishna. That is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners, in devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential. And this is confirmed in Vedic literature. Shata Jasya deve parabhakti jatha deve tatha guru tasyaite patitayartha prakashante mahatma. If Shadashatra Upanishad, what is saying? One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord. Here unflinching, they're undivided, unmixed. One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master, in whom he has similar unflinching faith, can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. Very important thing. Can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. By revelation means you cannot see through your eye. Dibbogyan Hriday Prakash. It will reveal. Though you may not see through your eye, but you will understand in your heart. One cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. The word tu is specifically used here to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Krishna. The personal form of Krishna, the 200 form, and the 400 are described as Shu Durdarshanam. Darshan means seeing. Durdarshan, very difficult. Shu Durdarshan, very, very difficult. Here, seeing this form, very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The 400 form of Narayan and the 200 form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas the universal form exhibited to Arjuna is temporary. The words Tat Annena Na Drishtapurvam state that before Arjuna no one had seen their Annena Na Drishtapurvam, no one had seen before. Also, they suggest that amongst the devotees there are no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see him, his universal form. If someone challenge, I am God, okay, show your universal form. No, you have not the vision. Okay, you are God, give me the vision. The word no, used repeatedly in the previous verse, indicates that one should not be very much proud to see credential as an academic education in Vedic literature. One must take to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then can one attempt to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna changes from the universal form to the 400 form of Narayan and then to his own natural form of two hands. This indicates that the 400 forms and the other forms mentioned in the Vedic literature are all emanations of the original 200 Krishna. He is the origin of all emanation. Krishna is distinct even from these forms. What to speak of impersonal concept? As far as 400 forms of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical 400 form of Krishna is also an expansion of Supreme Lord, as stated in Brahma Samhita. 400 form, Mahavishnu. Here, Brahma Samhita is saying this Mahavishnu, Karnadaksha Vishnu, is also expansion of Krishna. Jasya eko nishashita kalam athavalambo. Ek nishas. Ek nishas, one breath. Jasya, whose one breath? Jasya eko nishashita kalam athavalambo. Jivanti lomo biloja jagadannatha. Lomo biloja. Lomo biloja. Took birth. Ja means janma. Take birth. From the loam. Here, pores of the hair follicle, skin pores. Who is that? Jagadanna Natha Brahma. Vishnu Mahan, he is Mahavishnu, saw that person from who Jasya Ekonishar. That person actually Mahavishnu. But saw you Jasya Kala Vishnu. But that Mahavishnu is a part and parcel of Krishna, Govinda. That is a Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Mahavishnu, into whom all the innumerable universes enter and from whom they come forth again simply by his breathing process, is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda Krishna, the cause of all causes. Therefore, one should conclusively worship the personality, conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personal Godhead, who has eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all forms of incarnation, and he is the original Supreme Personality as confirmed in Bhagavad. In the Vedic literature, the following statements appears. Satchit Ananda Rupayo Krishnasya Aklishtakarine Namo Vedanto Vidayo Gurube Buddhi Shakshine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Krishna, who has a transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respect to him because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. Then it is said, Krishna Vai Paramam Daivatam. Krishna is the supreme personal Godhead. Paramam Daivatam. Param Devata. Gopal Tapane. Eko Vashi Sha Sarva Gah Krishna Idda Eko Pishan Bahudha Jo Abhavati. That one, Krishna, is the supreme personal Godhead and he is worshipable. Although he is one, he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopal Tapani Krishna. The Brahma Samhita says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Raja Govinda Sarva Karana Karma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. In the Vishnu Puran, it is said, Jatra avatirnam Krishnakham param brahma narakriti. The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna, and he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of all kinds of incarnations of the Supreme Personal Godhead. And in this list, the name of Krishna also appears. But then it is said that this Krishna is not an incarnation of God, but is the original Supreme Personal Godhead. First chapter, first canto, third chapter, 28th verse. After explaining all the incarnations. Ete changsho kalak punsha Krishnastu Bhagavan. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Matta paratara nanyat. There is nothing superior to my form as the personality of Godhead Krishna. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Aham adiri devanam. I am the origin of all the demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna also confirms in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita this in the following words, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. I now fully understand that you are the Supreme Personal Godhead, the Absolute Truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is the Krishna form. The universal form, with its thousands and thousands of heads and hands, is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original form. The universal form is not attractive for pure devotees who are in love with the Lord in different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead extends transcendental love in his original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, this form of the universal manifestation was not pleasing, rather it was fearful. Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man. Therefore, he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by puritive activities. But to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the 200 form of Krishna is the most dear. Last verse. Mat karma krit, mat parama, mat bhakta sangha varjita, nirvaira sarvabhuteshu, jasha mamati pandu. Mat karma krit, engaged in doing my work. Mrityo vivi. Mat parama, considering me the supreme. Mat bhakta, engaged in my devotional service. Sangha varjita, free from the contamination of creative activities and mental speculation. Nirvaira, without any enemy. Sarvabhuteshu, among all living entities. Ja, one who saw he, mam, unto me, eti comes, Pandava, O son of Pandu. Translation. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of creative activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Purport. Anyone who wants to approach the Supreme of all personalities of Godhead on the Krishna planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with Supreme Personality, Krishna, must take this formula as stated in the Supreme himself. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita. This verse? Last verse of 11th chapter. Prabhupada is telling. Therefore, this verse is essence of Bhagavad Gita. Why? Again, anyone who wants to approach the Supreme of all personalities of Godhead on the Krishna planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected to the Supreme Person of Godhead Krishna must take this formula as stated in the Supreme himself. So that is the essence of Bhagavad. What is that? Mam eti Pandav, mam eti. Mam eti, he certainly comes to me. The Bhagavad Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad Gita is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Spiritual Personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to God. Now, here is a verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in his spiritual activity, devotional service. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna consciousness, as stated in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anashaktasya Vishan Jataram Pujinjita. Nirvairo. Anashaktasya Vishan Jataram Pujinjata. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairakum Uchchate. Famous verse in Nectar of Devotion, giving definition of true renunciation. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work. The result should be done only for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna, and he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna karma. People may not understand, wow, now Janmashtami is coming. How many crores rupees devotee will spend for Krishna? Can you imagine? Only for flower? Many crores of rupees only in India for Krishna Janmashtami from ISKCON. How is possible? Big temple, few lakhs, 10, 50 lakhs, use flower only. So, why is so much money is wasting? No, it isn't wasting. Who has created flower? Lord has created. If we give all the flowers in his lotus feet, what is the big loss? Some rascal may say, oh, in our country, there's so many poor people, they cannot drink milk, or they are putting what? Milk in the Shivji. You rascal, you also pour milk, and Shivji will take care of your family. Why you become envious? If someone poured milk on Shivji. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna, and one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offering to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited for living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. In ISKCON temple, we are staying in a temple. We have built big temple for Krishna. We are staying in his temple. What is the loss? It is not in my name, maybe, but we are enjoying all facilities. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleaning the temple of Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. One can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land in India, at least any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. One can sow tulsi plants. One can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalam te. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf or a flower or fruit or a little water. And by such an offering, he is satisfied. This leaf especially refers to the tulsi. So one can sow tulsi and pour water on the plant. Thus, even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples of how one can engage in working for Krishna. The word Mat Parama refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets, such as the moon or sun or heavenly planets, or even the highest planet of this universe, Brahma. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even in the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with merging into the glowing Brahmodita effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishna Golok Vrindavan. He has full knowledge of the planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. As indicated by the word Mad Bhakto, he fully engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with him, and number 9, surrendering everything to him. One can engage in all 9 devotional processes, or 8, or 7, or at least 1, and that will surely make one perfect. The term Sangha Varjita is very significant. One should dissociate himself from persons who are against Krishna. Not only are the atheistic persons against Krishna, but so also are those who are attracted to the fruitive activities and mental speculation. One should keep up association with them also. Therefore, the pure form of devotional service is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Onna vilashida shunnam gyana karmadhyana pritam anukulenu Krishna nishilanam bhakti uttama. In this verse, Rupa Goswami clearly states that if anyone wants to execute unalloyed devotional service, he must be freed from all kinds of material contamination. He must be freed from the association of persons who are addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. When freed from such unwanted association and from the contamination of material desires, one favorably cultivates knowledge of Krishna. That is called pure devotional service. Anukulena, anukulesha sankalpa prakritikulesha bhajanam in Hari Bhakti Vilas is in Padma Purana. Limbs of Sharanagati. One should think of Krishna and act for Krishna favorably. Anukulesha sankalpa. Not unfavorably. Give up Pratikulesha Vibharjanam. Pratikulesha Bharjanam. Kamsa was an enemy of Krishna's. From the very beginning of Krishna's birth, Kamsa planned to so many ways to kill him, and because he was always unsuccessful, he was always thinking of Krishna. Thus, while working, while eating, and while sleeping, he was always Krishna conscious in every aspect. But that Krishna consciousness was not favorable, and therefore, in spite of his always thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, he was considered a demon, and Krishna at last killed him. Though he was uncle, mama. Of course, anyone who is killed by Krishna attains salvation immediately. But that is not the aim of the pure devotee. The pure devotee does not even want salvation. He does not want to transport even to the highest planet below Vrindavan. His only objective is to serve Krishna wherever he may be. A devotee of Krishna is friendly to everyone. Therefore, it is said here that he has no enemy. Nirvaira. How is this? A devotee situated in Krishna consciousness knows that only devotional service to Krishna can relieve a person from all problems of life. He has personal experience of this, and therefore he wants to introduce this system, Krishna consciousness, into human society. There are many examples in history of devotees of the Lord who risked their lives for the spreading of God consciousness. The favorite example is Lord Jesus Christ. He was crucified by the non-devotees, but he sacrificed his life for spreading God consciousness. Of course, it would be superficial to understand that he was killed. Similarly, in India also, there are many examples, such as Thakur Haridas and Prahlad Maharaj. Why such risk? Because they wanted to spread Krishna consciousness, and it is difficult. A Krishna conscious person knows that if a man is suffering, it is due to his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. Therefore, the highest benefit one can render to human society is relieving one's neighbor from all material problems. In such a way, a pure devotee is engaged in the service of the Lord. Now we can imagine how merciful Krishna is to those engaged in his services, risking everything for him. Therefore, it is certain that such persons must reach the supreme planet after leaving the body, especially the distributor, that always taking this. In summary, the universal form of Krishna, who is a temporary manifestation, and the form of time, which devours everything, and even the form of Vishnu, four-handed, have all been exhibited by Krishna. Thus, Krishna is the origin of all these manifestations. It is not that Krishna is a manifestation of the original Vishwarup or Vishnu. Vishnu is the origin of all forms. There are hundreds and thousands of Vishnu, but for a devotee, no form of Krishna is important. But the original form 200 Shamsundar. In the Brahma-samhita, it is stated that those who are attached to the Shamsundar form of Krishna in love and devotion can see him always within the heart and cannot see anything else. Premanjana Srita Bhakti Vilochanana Shanta Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilapati Jan Shamasundara Shamsundara. One should understand therefore that the purport of this 11th chapter is that the form of Krishna is essential and supreme. The end of the purports to the 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of universal form. So Prabhupada was so ecstatic in giving purport. He wasn't stopping. I think you have noticed that Krishna is giving, Prabhupada emphasis so much on one point. People are believed that, oh, universal form is the best. Because for seeing universal form, Arjuna need Dibba Chakshu, transcendental vision. Arjuna could not see universal form without Dibba Chakshu. That naturally people come, no, that is the universal form is the highest. But Prabhupada in all his commentary power try to understand, no. Then question, why he could not see? Why? Because as devotees are experienced to see, that is why they need that. Like If you want to see the sun, you can see ordinary eyes. You can see through some black glass so that you can see sun. We are not experienced to see that type of thing. Because we don't want to see, we are not experienced to see that type of thing. Devotee, for the devotees, like just imagine, you are a mother, your son is thousands of mouth, thousands of hand, how will feed him? How will serve him? So, devotees want to serve Krishna. That is why he needs 200 forms. That is like by the devotees. So, in Prabhupada, there's so much ecstasy that, and he's telling this. What is the essence of this chapter? Essence of this chapter is Krishna's 200 form is the most important. Though it is short universal form, the chapter is in a universal form, but purport is essence of this universal form is not the important. And how to enter Krishna? Only through devotion. That is why Prabhupada gives so much importance. What is devotion? How to enter? How devotion is the best, and 200 form, how it is best, not only universal form, even better than 400 form. Narayan. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shri Prabhupada. I don't have time today for inviting question. Bhagavad as it is go to.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanavat Pranam Maharaj.